The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a place where science and magic come together to transform fact into evolving truth. We're proudly coming to you through the ever-expanding X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, and can also be found on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour, we'll be exploring Not Written in Stone. Every 25,920 years or so, an amazing thing takes place. The slate is wiped clean. We leave one set of frequencies and are bathed in a new set based upon the solar system's relative position in the galaxy and Earth's relationship to it. The old set of frequencies defining our former reality dissolves, making way for the new. The transition is characterized by a period of chaos. Entire structures and systems are no longer supported and therefore must fall. To the degree we're personally identified with and cling to them, we fall also. This transition is recorded and prophesied in sacred texts and stories of every culture. Every race has its legends of the last frequency shift and the resulting upheaval. Spiritual practices across the globe contain prophecies of the next time it'll happen, and they all point to now. It's not a random event, but a cyclic one. So ancient, all we have to go on are half-forgotten myths and legends handed down for generations, or the whispers of those who glimpse trends of the future. While the future is subject to frequency influences, it's not written in stone. Surprisingly, what the future actually holds, how it will manifest, is up to us. The human body is an exquisitely refined organism designed to anchor spirit into the physical. As the temple that houses our souls, it can prism light into a rainbow of colors and move spiritual energy into the world through its chakra system. The chakras work together to manage the spirit body and with it, our interaction with the quantum level of life. Every chakra is anchored into the physical body through governing organs or glands, thus anchoring spiritual light or frequency into our physical world. The chakra system responds to our will and intent. In short, we are frequency masters. The chakras and the balance of light or frequency they emit shift and flex according to our conscious and unconscious intent. This constant fluctuation and movement adjusts itself to our intent and the environment, maintaining balance while affecting change in accordance with desired outcome. We create our reality through our intent and the management of frequency available to us at any given time. We are co-creators. We've lost sight of this amazing ability and use it unconsciously, manifesting what we're programmed to believe by modern-day education and media. The systems set the beliefs, and we manifest accordingly. With the shift in frequency and increased light now available, the systems that have held us under their influence are crumbling. As a result, many of us are waking up to the fact that we've been living an illusion we have unwittingly created. We're faced with a choice. Will we stick our heads in the sand, tenaciously hold to our old beliefs, and go down in terminal victimhood? Or take our rightful place as conscious co-creators? The future outcome of the new world emerging relies upon our choices. Where can we find the guidance to help us retake this awesome responsibility? The past and the future. Our ancestors and descendants, of course. Our guest this hour, author of the Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom from Transformation and In the Presence of Love, Ernesto Ortiz, has devoted his life to exploring and communicating the language of heart, primal movement, and deep inner spaces. Ernesto is recognized in holistic health and metaphysical fields as an artist, writer, poet, inspiring facilitator, photographer, teacher, and therapist. After this commercial break, I'll introduce Ernesto, and together we'll explore the Akashic Records, our past, present, future, and our power to create it. So don't go away. You're listening to The Science of Magic. Prior innovative episodes can always be found on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. Though the world seems in turmoil around us, let's not lose our way. The stars still shine down, blessing us with their light. The sun rises every morning, chasing away the cold and darkness. There are good people of service in this world. We have much to be grateful for as we're wrapped in the arms of all of God's creation. This is Gwilda Wiyaka, host of the Science of Magic Radio, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I hope your holiday is filled with comfort and joy as you're surrounded by those you love. I'd like to thank all of you for being our loyal listeners on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and for joining us on this grand adventure called life. As the New Year's dawns, let us all stand in truth as we embrace peace. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is author of the Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom for Transformation, and In the Presence of Love, Ernesto Ortiz. His training began at an early age in Mexico with Curanderos and Shamans, and has continued for many years with world-renowned teachers in transpersonal psychology, shamanism, music therapy, bodywork, and more. In 1994, Ernesto created Journey to the Heart, a company dedicated to uplifting consciousness and the well-being of people by using practical tools to help integrate the physical with the mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Ernesto is a ceremonial pipe carrier. He received his pipe in 1996 from his Lakota spiritual grandmother, Barrett Eagle Bear. After this, Ernesto's website is journeytotheheart.com. That's journeytotheheart.com. Ernesto, thank you for joining us on the Science of Magic.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here before the end of the year.
It's a nice time, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah. I understand you work shamanically. Where'd you get your training, Ernesto?
Well, my training started in a very unique and organic way. I was born in Mexico City. My family was very well-to-do, and they owned coffee plantations in the state of Veracruz. So from an early age, 7, 8, 9 years old, I was going to the farm, and instead of staying inside of the house with my cousins and nephews, etc., to learn how to play chess and stuff, I kicked off my shoes and I went out to be with the workers. This was a group of about 70 people that worked in different farms, and they took me in not only because I was the son of the owners, but because I had a genuine interest in what they were doing. So the world of Mexican mysticism and shamanism, I didn't know what it was at the time at 7, 8 years old. I was exposed to that. And so that's why I said it was in an organic way, because all the rituals and ceremonies, all the limpias, the cleansing rituals they were doing to others, they were also doing to me. And this opened a world, a feeling of knowing that, wow, I don't know what this is, but I really, really like it. And I had the good fortune to have the comparison between two worlds, the world of professionals, bankers, business owners, and all of that with my family, and the very simple world of this small group of people showing me the beauty of Mexican shamanism and mysticism. When I was 12 years old, the shaman was working with an egg on the body of this woman, and when he stopped and cracked the egg, what came out was black like molasses. And at that particular moment, for the first time ever, I made a very strong statement, and I said to myself, wow, that is so cool. I don't know what it is, but I like it, and I want to learn how to do it.
So you got at 12 you got to witness extraction and psychic surgery?
Well, I witnessed that before, but the full awareness of it happened at 12 years old, when I was able to see it and integrate it into my being, making a statement that, not even knowing what that was, it was incredible, and I wanted to learn how to do it. And that statement, is a very strong affirmation that started opening doors for me into the world of magic and beauty and shamanism and altered states of consciousness and religion and spirituality and so on and so forth. And here I am.
So you set your intention at 12, really, and then your life formed around that. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah. After the initial exposure from the time I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, when I was around 12 is when I saw that, and is when yes, that my life around, my solid spirituality in the diversity of the way it is today, it started shaping up at that age. So if you ask me when my spirituality started, when my path started, honestly, I don't know. When I was, 6, 7 years old, even younger than that, I remember instead of wanting to stay outside playing with my friends or whatever, wanted to go to church with my grandma in Mexico City, because the lullaby of the rosary and the chanting of the rosary that later I became to recognize as the recognition of chanting mantras in previous lives. So it was a beautiful world for me that started shaping up my reality, and then the Great Spirit started opening doors, and then I just started walking to the doors when the Great Spirit, call it whatever you want, God, the universal, etc., closes a door. I just simply stop, I look around, and then I know that always another one opens, and I just walk through that door until it closes, and so on and so forth.
It's a magical life when you live it that way, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Every second, every breath is pure magic in my life.
So you're a ceremonial pipe carrier in the Lakota way. What's the difference between being a pipe carrier and a ceremonial pipe carrier?
Well, if you can be a pipe carrier, meaning that you can obtain a pipe, or someone gives you, a medicine man or woman gives you a personal pipe, and that is, you can use that with your friends and your family, but this is not a pipe that should be shared with the community. And my pipe, is a community pipe. It's a ceremonial pipe. So I travel with my pipe around the world and doing ceremonies and sharing my pipe with the world, with community, with people that come to attend my classes, etc. So a ceremonial pipe carrier is someone that creates ceremony about the ritual, the beautiful ritual of the chanupa, the sacred pipe, the chanupa wakan, and then shares that pipe with the community. And a pipe carrier is someone that just has his own or her own pipe, but it cannot be shared with the community.
Very nice. So if you're a communal pipe carrier, do you take on all the responsibilities? Do you carry the spirit of the dead for a year, or do you just at this time in your life pretty much focus on ceremony to bring a group together?
Well, I don't say no to life in any way. So, the spirit of the death is always around me. I have died twice in this lifetime. I have drowned it. I have been close to death, two other times in this lifetime, within a second or two of actually happening, and then the great spirits spared my life, and here I am. So to me, the sharing of the pipe, is and saying yes to everything that comes my way is the way that I live my life. So I don't separate or divide one thing or another, but I do prepare to die every single day. There's specific rituals that I do and practices to prepare to die, because I know that is will be the most sublime moment of my life, because what we transfer from one lifetime to the next is the condition of our mind, the condition of our consciousness. And so if the condition of the consciousness is crystal clear, pure, completely free and void of any pains and suffering as much as possible, of, anger and lack of forgiveness and on and on and on, all the negative feelings that humans are capable of generating, if I can get to that sublime moment of death with a clear consciousness, I do know that my next life, which I will come back, because I have made a vow to come back again and again and again and again until all beings are liberated, then I know that I will have greater opportunities in my next life based on what I achieve in this one. So that is just the way that I see things. So, but yeah, death is something that I carry with me. I was just not even a month ago, I was finishing one of my classes, and a young man that I had seen 30 minutes before, the son of the owners of the place where I was having my retreats, he died right there, and I was talking with him 30 minutes before. And so, when I came out and someone told me, this young man is dead, I went to see him immediately, tried to bring him back, give him mouth-to-mouth, air, but it was too late, it was gone. So I took on the opportunity at that moment to start doing ritual ceremony, and for my group to start chanting as well some mantras that they had learned from me to help the spirit, move into the light without pain and suffering as much as possible.
Beautifully done. So everyone, we're going to change subjects here a little bit. Everyone speaks about the Akashic Records, and it seems to view them in a different way. Can you tell us what they are exactly?
Well, exactly is just a huge word, but I will do my I will do my best. The Akashic Records are a field that is a field of infinite potential that is present in our lives every single day, every moment of our life. It's a vibrational frequency that wraps around from the tiniest of cells in our body to the largest of planets in the universe. This is the membrane or the connective tissue that wraps everything around. So Akasha is actually a substance that in today's world we are very lucky to have science to come in and validate many things that we have known for hundreds or thousands of years. And quantum physics and science via Professor Erwin Laszlo in 2014 at a symposium in Italy, they actually proved in a scientific way, or validated, I should say, the Akashic fields as a very dense field, like a substance that moves at 0.1 speed, so it's a very slow-moving field. And the function of this field is to record information given by any life form, and everything is alive. So life is contributing to the imprint of the Akashic fields. So that is, in general, that's the big picture. And the function of this field, the function of the Akashic Records, is to record past, present, and to also unfold or give us a glimpse of the opportunities or the options that are ahead into the future. So at a personal level, the Akashic Records are our book of life. They are the recordings of our soul's evolution from the moment of its inception to the present moment. And as we engage in life, then we are constantly giving emotional impressions to the field of Akasha. So from our soul's inception, the recordings are there in this field, so they contain past, present, and the possibility of unfoldment of future events. So the Akashic Records can be accessed by and have been accessed by many, many people, but these are individuals that have had or have very unique abilities. We have seen this with seers, with visionaries, with shamans, with individuals like Edgar Cayce and others that have had this incredible ability to
We're going
connect.
to have to pick up on this ability on the other side of a commercial break. We'll discuss the quantum level and the Akashic Records. Ernesto and I will return to our discussion. We're coming to you through the land of leading edge paranormal broadcasting, the Ed Zone Broadcast Network. Don't miss the other fine shows and hosts on xzbn.net. You're listening to The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. We will be back, so don't you go away. Hi, I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Did you know that shamanism has been around for 50,000 years and practiced by all indigenous cultures? These ancients understood there's more to healing and health than just the physical. All four levels, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, must be addressed in order for us to enjoy healthy, abundant lives. To find quality shamanic healing you can trust, you need look no further than Path Home Long-Distance Shamanic Healing Program. All Path Home practitioners have been trained and certified through Path Home Shamanic Art School, a Colorado State occupational school, and are handpicked, personally trained by me, Gwilda Wiyaka, to uphold the excellence of Path Home's long-distance program. Live abundantly. Schedule a shamanic session with me or one of my quality practitioners today. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is the author of The Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom for Transformation, and In the Presence of Love, Ernesto Ortiz. Ernesto, we were just getting warmed up about quantum field and Akashic Records. So how do the two of those relate?
Well, they remain tremendously because they are vibrational frequencies, and that is what I am talking about, is the ability to shift our energetic vibration to a much higher degree. So from the dense vibration that is housed in most human beings, which is directly connected to the carbon self, when we know how to bring our frequency, our vibration to a higher degree, then we start tuning into the crystalline nature, and only higher frequencies are capable of withstanding or living in crystalline nature. So by accessing these frequencies within ourselves, it's as if our mind is capable of opening different windows, different doors that give us the entrance to other potentials that are within us, but they're not explored because we are too dense. We don't simply do the practice, take the time to fine-tune our senses, to fine-tune our frequencies, to be able to get into these fields. And once we are up into these fields, then, like I said at the beginning, the potential is unlimited. We can go in any direction we want to go. So for every shift in vibrational frequency that can be validated in quantum science, then it's as if we open a door within our mind, our consciousness, that gives us the ability to walk into a room that has another 100 doors and another 100 windows. So this is just an ongoing process of fine-tuning ourselves to be able to experience the magic of what the universe and the Akashic fields store and have for us.
So let me see if I got this right. What we're doing is we're using our ability to be frequency masters. In other words, if we can refine our ability to shift our frequency, we can choose where we look in the Akashic Records to get the information that we seek.
Absolutely, absolutely. And part of the magic and the beauty of the Akashic Records is the ability that we have to erase negative karma, not only from this life but from previous lives as well. Because so if this is a field, a dense field, and we fine tune our frequency, our energy, it's as if we can jump into this field the same way that you jump into a car and go from point A to point B. So here we jump into the fields and we go back, as far as we have to in this life. Let's just not go too far in this life to any moment in time in which we created a wrong action with somebody else, negative karma. The action that we took cannot ever be eliminated, but the emotional imprint left behind that you of what you gave and the other person received, that emotional imprint can be changed via the Akashic Records. So it's as if we can go back and dialogue with the us that created that negative action, and that us dialogues with the person that we injured, balance the emotional imprint, balance that karma, and then come back free and clear from that to this present moment, and we continue on. It's the best tool that I have ever come across.
And I suspect shamanism is a form that's been accessing and dealing with the Akashic Records for over 50,000 years. Could you speak to this?
Yes, sure, absolutely. These fields are eternal. They did not start when, 10 years ago when the Akashic Records started becoming more of a known field. 25 years ago when I started teaching the Akashic Records, very few people knew about it. 40, 50 years ago, again, very few people know about it. But this is something that has been there for hundreds, thousands of years. It's eternal, and they will continue to be eternal. So a shaman is an individual that is a master of shifting consciousness to enter different states of reality. It's like it's flipping a switch to turn off a light or to turn it on, and that is just a mind training that gives us the ability to shapeshift into this type of consciousness, extraordinary consciousness, altered state of consciousness, if you want to call it that, and then jump into these fields that are available to us that bypass the etheric realm and go to a much higher dimensional frequency of vibration, which is the Akashic fields. And there, you can go to see, to truly be a witness, not only of your life, but the life of others around you. So the shaman in the past and the good ones in the present are able to do just that, to enter this field, and from this field be the witness not only of their lives, but of the creation of other individuals and their lives, and provide then the means for healing as well as inspiration and direction in someone's life.
I'm glad you made the differentiation, the good ones, the good shaman in this day and age. We've almost eradicated shamanism off the planet, and we need it desperately, in my opinion. So now we're trying to bring it back, but it seems like an awful lot of it is just ritual-based without the ability to do the frequency mastery required to dance with the Akashic Records. Is that what you're talking about there?
Well, yeah, absolutely. In today's world, I meet people. People ask me, "Are you a shaman?" And I say, "No. I practice shamanism." They ask me, "How long you been doing this?" And I said, "Well, no. I started when I was 6, 7 years old, and here I am at 60." So, and I meet people that take a 6-month course, and they're calling themselves shamans. Unfortunately, the spiritual supermarket that has opened in the world today has also brought a tremendous amount of ego-based energies. And there's a lot of people that use, the words or use the different fields to enhance to pump their ego. And it's not about that. It's about being true. It's about being honest. It's about taking the time to really become it, and not just have the theoretical or the intellectual knowledge of of something. When you do something that alters and changes your life, then you start embodying that energy, and then you can start turning around and truly sharing it from a space of a humble heart with somebody else, which is what is void, unfortunately, in today's world by many, many, many teachers and shamans.
Beautifully stated. Do the Akashic Records have information from both the past and alternative futures?
Yes, absolutely, because they're all an imprint in the field of Akasha, and the field of Akasha is everywhere. It's in every solar system. Is the glue that holds the universe together, and the primordial essence of Akasha is love. So everything that we seek is there. It's just our ability to enter into the field of Akasha as if we were able to enter into our own mind and to discover the hidden potential that is within it. And by discovering that hidden potential is as we open a door to an extraordinary room that has the information that we need for in order to change our lives, to find the healing, to find the inspiration, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, the potential within, the Akashic fields and our ability to access those fields changes people's lives completely.
So we can see what the frequencies are, the influences, and then choose our place within that, thus changing outcome?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You truly have the ability to become the witness. And the witness, and I put this as if we are the players on a theatrical play. But we are not only the players of that play, but we're the directors of it, and we have the script. So when we are capable of looking from the director's chair at the play that we're playing, all the actors in the play, if some of them are not playing the role that you want to play, if you have been living a drama and you are tired of that, maybe you have to fire some of these actors if they're not capable of changing their role to the new lines that you want, because your life, you want it to be a romantic comedy. Why not? So the Akashic Records gives us the ability to look with clarity and with compassion and love at the way that we have and we are creating our life, and they also give us the means and the clarity to see into the future at the different potentials available to us and choose the one that is for our highest good and the highest good of all concerned.
So it's, again, we have options. It's not a future that's set in stone.
That is absolutely correct. Every like I can choose, for example, to hang up right now, end the conversation with you. Now, that will determine the next phase of, maybe you being unhappy with it because whatever, your radio listener is the same. So as a choice that we exercise every moment determines the immediate future outcome. But then we can also look at this as the bigger picture, as choices that we make today based on the belief systems that we have and how those determine the future.
So how can we use the Akashic Records to make these informed and responsible choices?
By going into our Akashic Records, by having a dialogue, a conversation with the masters, the teachers, the record keepers that have the information in our book of life, to dialogue and to see with clarity at what we have done. See, we cannot change our future if our past and our present is completely covered with debris and with bushes and plants that don't give us the ability to move ahead in the direction that we want. So in order to really have the future that we want, we have to stop, look at our present, clean the present, clean the past, and then with a space of emptiness, then we can then create the future.
So Ernesto, when you talk about clearing the debris, are you talking about the belief systems and programming that we carry that hold us at a lower frequency?
Well, yes, absolutely. There are two things that create our reality, and you touched on this when you first opened the segment, and that is, our belief systems and the condition of our mind is what creates our reality. So we must stop and start examining our belief systems and to realize that most of the belief systems that we have today, we inherited from our parents, and our parents from our grandparents, and our grandparents from our great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. So, and also, if you continue looking back, then your own personal contribution 4 lifetimes, 5 lifetimes ago to something that that your family and the karma of that family is acting on or believing in today. So the exploration of belief systems is the most important thing, because without changing and replacing belief systems that don't serve us to the belief systems that we say, like my belief systems are.
We're gonna have to take another break. I'm so sorry. We'll pick up on the other side. Ernesto and I will be back shortly. You're listening to The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net, the place where altruistic professionals of science and the esoteric create common ground for the betterment of our world. We're brought to you by the leader in paranormal, spirituality, and alternative health programming, the X Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net. Though the world seems in turmoil around us, let's not lose our way. The stars still shine down, blessing us with their light. The sun rises every morning, chasing away the cold and darkness. There are good people of service in this world. We have much to be grateful for as we're wrapped in the arms of all of God's creation. This is Gwilda Wiyaka, host of the Science of Magic Radio, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I hope your holiday is filled with comfort and joy as you're surrounded by those you love. I'd like to thank all of you for being our loyal listeners on the X Zone Broadcast Network and for joining us on this grand adventure called life. As the New Year's dawns, let us all stand in truth as we embrace peace. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. And one of those gifted people bringing their services to the world is our guest this hour. He's the author of the Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom for Transformation, and In the Presence of Love, Ernesto Ortiz. Ernesto, we were really getting into a fun subject about how our belief systems limit our ability to access the Akashic Records. And also, I think at this point, I'm sure the listeners are going, okay, I want a little bit of this. How do I access the Akashic Records? What other ways are there to access them outside of the shamanic trance?
Well, like I said, there are individuals that have the great ability to connect. They're, psychics that truly are the real ones that have the ability to bypass the astral plane, the etheric plane, and go to the plane of Akasha where they can retrieve information. Not a lot of us are gifted like that. So what we have received from the Mayans is a sacred prayer. And this sacred prayer with the right formula is what is the key that opens the door for us to enter the elevator that takes us to the field of Akasha. So it's actually quite simple. The only requirement is to have an open heart, to let go of the mind of the expert mind, and enter the field with an open mind, the mind of a child and a mind of a novice. And with that and the prayer, you have access to the Akashic fields. And from that moment, the magic, the beginning of the exploration of your life's history begins the exploration of the condition of the mind, belief systems, pains, addictions, codependencies, lack of forgiveness, which is like an epidemic. In my classes, I ask how many of you are dealing with issues of forgiveness, and 99% of the people raise their hand. So, all of these issues are what become crystal clear when we are in the Akashic Records, and the prayer is the key, is what creates that vibrational frequency for us to be able to come out of our seventh chakra, to really move into the transpersonal chakras, to be able to receive the download of information and have the connection with the masters that shows us the infinite potential of the Akashic Records. So it is the prayer that is the key.
Our guest this hour is the author of the Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom of Transformation, and In the Presence of Love, Ernesto Ortiz. His website, journeytotheheart.com. So, how important is it to have clear intent when you're consulting the Akashic Records?
Well, your attention flows in the direction that it goes. So if you don't have clear intent, you are going to end up with what I call patterns of interference. And then people that are sitting there with conditions of the mind, with the lack of clear intent, etc., they create patterns of interference. And, it's like if you try to plug in a two-prong plug into a four-prong socket, it's not going to work. So you have to be in the right mind-heart space in order to access and be in the energy of the Akashic Records.
Could you speak to the difference in being conscious and unconscious in intent, and how it might affect the information we receive?
Being conscious and unconscious?
Yeah, so much of our intent seems unconscious. It's like we're conscious of one intent, but there's programming underneath that has us intending.
That's precisely that unconscious programming, and people are just, unfortunately, they get too overwhelmed with the distractions of the world. People don't really practice meditation. To me, meditation is my medication, and the shifts of consciousness that are available to us, happen within the shift of our ordinary reality. So if you are not conscious, then you're not mindful about the way that you speak. You're not mindful about the way, the words that you use. So many people in the spiritual field that use, foul language, the F word and others. And I am appalled and shocked at the way people talk, even in the spiritual field, without realizing that those are vibrational frequencies that we're constantly generating. So we have to be able to get to the point of truly knowing ourselves and taking the time for self-discovery. And when you self-discover, then you know that this is a reality that is so rich and so beautiful that can create the physical changes in your regular reality, as long as the extraordinary reality or practice is kept in your life, all the time, daily. I in my classes, I teach three things: discipline, dedication, and devotion, the 3 Ds. Without those three, you're not going to advance in your spiritual path. And people always have excuses as to why they don't have the time to sit for 30 minutes to meditate, 20 minutes to meditate. Well, take 20 minutes out of Facebook and you have your 20 minutes and 30 minutes and more to truly devote yourself to a spiritual practice that will shift your consciousness to be more mindful, more aware, and eventually begin to awake.
Do you think that we spontaneously receive information from the Akashic Records?
Well, sure, of course. Many people have. If you are in deep meditation, it can be that the portal that is between Akasha and you opens, and boom, you receive that information. But that's a hit and miss. It's not going to happen at will, and every time you sit to meditate. If you use teacher plants also have the ability to open the mind, expand it to be able to perceive extraordinary realities. So there are other means, when the mind shifts from the ordinary to the extraordinary in meditation, in other activities, absolutely. Then that door that has the sign of Akasha opens up, and boom, you receive that information. But with the prayer, and when we sit to open consciously our Akashic Records, we know that we're not opening the door by accident, but we're getting onto an elevator that when the doors open, will be in the field of Akasha, and we can explore.
How can we tell that the information we're getting from Akasha, whether it's literal or allegorical, it seems like a lot comes through in symbols as well. Would you mind speaking to that?
Well, we receive the energy from the Akashic fields into our 8th chakra. And once that energy begins to descend into an open 7th chakra, is the space of translating the information or the language of spirit, which is light language encoded in sacred geometry via our senses. So when we start getting that information inside of our body, then we begin to use our senses to translate the information and give it meaning. So if you're visual, you'll be able to see. If you're auditory, you'll be able to hear, etc. But little by little, you fine-tune all of your senses within the Akashic fields to be able to have a complete download and perception on the information that you receive. So it may, for some people, feel similar, but then again, it's completely different. The first question that I ask in one of my workshops has to do with belief systems and how they create your reality. And I ask the question, I make the students write it down, and then without your Akashic Records, you answer the question, what beliefs create an obstacle in my life, etc. And then you write the question, you write the answer, I'm sorry. Then we open our Akashic Records, you read the same question, you start writing the answer, and it's a shocking surprise for everyone that attends the class as to how the information, even though it may be similar because we're talking a known belief system, is completely different. The energy, the wording is different, and you begin to receive the information not in the I person, I think that I should, I believe that I this, but it's like it's a second person, like someone is talking to you. So then you're opening to receive the energy from the masters, and they begin to guide you. What we suggest that you do, the direction that you need to take, the healing potential that you need to explore, etc., is coming from a higher source.
And isn't it fun when you get a group of people asking the same question and the answer just gets real multidimensional, but tends to add up?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. I see it in every single, that is the question, the first question that I ask in my level 1 classes. And I have had, in this past 2.5 months, I just came back from Europe 4 days ago, from France. And I had, I think, 5 level 1 classes, in addition to level 2, 3, and 4. And this is a fascinating question to ask because the revelation that students receive, the opening on their minds, is to the information that is available to them via the Akashic fields is just is huge and beautiful.
Well, I'm so glad you're doing this work in the world and helping people learn how to open their own Akashic Records. We have about half a minute left. If you had one thing to tell someone that they could do to start stepping their feet on this path, what would it be?
Well, I will leave your radio listeners with these words. Have the courage to look within. Don't remain in doubt and fear. Gain confidence in your self-liberation. Embody your beauty and your magnificence. Be happy and share that with the world. And don't be afraid to love because at the end, that is all really that matters.
Thank you so much. Our guest this hour has been author of the Akashic Records, Sacred Wisdom for Transformation, Ernesto Ortiz, his website, journeytotheheart.com. This has been The Science of Magic. Remember, you can always listen to past thought-provoking episodes on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge and comforted with love as we co-create our future.